Hello and welcome to the special edition of 310 to Left. Tom Caron solo with you. Alex Spear has the episode off. Tonight we take a look back at the 2024 Red Sox Hall of Fame induction ceremonies at Fenway Park. I got to serve as the MC of the event, and one of the great things about the format is that the inductees don't just give a speech when they are honored. They sit down and join me for a candid conversation about their careers. 3 former players headlined the class. All were champions: Trot Nixon, Jonathan Papelbon, and Dustin Pedroia. We begin this special edition of the podcast looking back at the highlights of the night and the conversations we had with these Red Sox legends. Trot Nixon was an integral part of the 2004 World Series championship team that snapped an 86-year drought for the Red Sox. The epitome of a dirt dog, Nixon finished his career in the club's top 20 for most home runs and slugging percentage, a career that began more than a decade before the curse of Bambino was broken.
I'm not sure how I'm supposed to sit over here.
Just kind of lean back, have a little vodka, apparently it helps.
Yeah, I was going to bring up the dessert tray for you.
We can have dessert while we go. You were drafted way back in June of 1993. Take us through that, like Pap was saying before. When you got the news, the signing process kind of came down to the wire. What was that all like?
It was my situation was a little bit different. I had an opportunity to go play football and baseball at North Carolina State, and so through that, it's a lot different nowadays. Obviously, if you get drafted nowadays, you got probably about 2 or 3 days to make your decision whether you're going to sign and play pro ball or go to college. But for me, it lasted pretty much the whole summer. Lou Gorman was the general manager. Jeff Zona, who is here right here, he drafted me. He came down and saw me quite a bit. And so that whole process, I really wanted to play professional baseball. And my dad was actually kind of my agent at the time. I think he was getting a little bit help from Ron Shapiro, who's based out of Baltimore. But kind of went back and forth, but I ended up going to football camp. And so going through that whole process in fall practice, going through the summer practices of football, I loved it, but I really wanted to play professional baseball. So it came down, one awesome thing that came out of me going up, working out with a football team, going through fall practice, preparing to play against Purdue. I wasn't going to start, but I was introduced to somebody at campus. I think it was, he wanted to introduce, to kind of like maybe help me keep me at North Carolina State. It was an assistant baseball coach, Jim Toman, who's no longer there. He introduced me to my wife, Catherine. And so long story short, I basically cut tail from NC State, took Catherine with me, and we came to Boston.
That's a great training camp. Get a wife, and you go on to have a baseball career.
It was crazy, and it was back and forth, because I really did I love playing football. I love competing in football. That was something that just, over the years, it became something that I truly loved doing, and then, but being a professional baseball player is my dream.
I remember saying this when you were playing. You almost took a football approach to baseball. Like, you charged after everything. Pap was saying your uniform was trashed every game. I mean, poor Pookie, those guys having to clean it every night. But it resonated with the fans. They love the effort. Boston loves a dirt dog, and they quickly named you a dirt dog.
Yeah.
When did you start to feel that connection with the fans and realize that the way you play baseball is exactly what they want from their players?
It's a blue-collar town, and it always has been and always will be. And I felt like, they're going to hold me to a very high standard. I need to make sure that I bring it every night that I possibly can. I mean, there was plenty of nights that I wasn't very good at all, but there was some nights where I did have a little bit of success. But to me, Boston, blue collar, hard hat, bring your lunch pail to work every day. I needed to have that kind of mentality coming to the field every day. And it's just something that I didn't think about. That's just what I wanted to. I wanted to do. I wanted to, not only did I want to impress, my parents, I wanted to impress the fans. I wanted the fans to realize that I'm no different than them. I'm going to come out here and work just as hard as they do on a daily basis, and then hopefully help this team win championships.
The 99 season, which is really when you became that everyday guy and playing. And I think we forget about that season because of the championship seasons, but that was a magical summer of baseball, right? The All-Star game was here. Pedro was on a roll. ALDS, crazy win. ALCS was nuts. And did that season set you guys up for future success, some of what you went through that year?
I think it did. I'm glad that I was still with the organization because when that was my rookie year. I struggled the first month. And thank you, Dan Duquette, for not sending me back down or trading me. He's now actually one of my neighbors down in North Carolina. But also the late Jimmy Williams didn't give up on me. We went to work. And that's what I felt like I needed. I needed to get back into the cage, kind of reinvent myself. One former teammate, Brian Dahlbeck, was right there beside me every single day in the cage. Jim Rice was a hitting coach, but Jimmy Williams out there, now he may have been ripping on a heater, but he threw some great cutters, but he simplified a lot of stuff for me in the batter's box along with Jim Rice, and I was able to kind of, help myself end up with a 270 batting average that year. But from then, the success of that team, because all I wanted to do is I wanted to help the team win in any way, shape, or form. Swinging the bat, playing defense, base running, anything. And, those guys, one of my locker buddy, John Valentin, Sunshine. Where's Sunshine at?
Where you at, Val? There you are.
I love this guy. He was unique. We called him Sunshine because, he's smiling now. he wasn't smiling in the clubhouse. But I love that guy. He meant a lot to me. And helped me along when he didn't have to. He's a veteran guy, veteran leadership. You'll start to hear that from us former players, somebody that was impacted in our life, and it's the veteran leadership that we had. Val's another one of those. But that's where it started, that success, having that success year after year. And I think the biggest thing that drove the success was the fans. This is, you need to bring your A game when you come play in Boston. And there were some guys that came and played here that were traded here, and they're like, man, this is nuts. This is for real. I'm like, yeah, don't listen to the sports talk radio, which I think my wife got addicted to at one point, and I was like, you got to stop, Catherine. And you don't pay attention to, you just focus on what goes on in between the lines and making sure you're prepared every day. And because our fans are going to hold you accountable. They held me accountable for throwing the ball in the stands with 2 outs. And
yeah, we did on the post-game show that day too.
Huh?
We did on the post-game show that day too.
I'm sure you guys did too.
I think that was the whole segment.
Who was on that segment with you?
Dennis Eckersley, probably.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't going to take it easy. We know that.
He's
I do, we look back, 04, but I think the narrative is that losing in 03 was the beginning of 04, right? In a lot of ways it was. But I was on that charter flight home with you guys. That didn't feel like the beginning of anything at the moment. How tough was that and that off season? Again, easier to look at it now that you won a year later. But man, that was tough.
It was very tough. Wakey did not deserve what he got. Aaron bleeping Boone getting lucky and closing his eyes, and I respect him. But it was a great series. It was a heavyweight bout, and but for us to be on the wrong side of it, it was tough. That flight, it was quiet, and for me personally, I lost a childhood teammate and friend was hit by a car that night, and he passed away. So I found out about it after the game. So it was difficult. I remember sitting out in Ted Williams' home run chair, which, by the way, is a long way out there. Holy cow. I remember fans had come out and they're doing the tour and so forth, and I was just sitting up there. I didn't want to leave the park, but I didn't know how to process it. But ownership, went to the table, went to the drawing board, and realized not only that the needs that this team needed, but also finding the right players, because it's not just going out and trying to spend $300 million on players, this guy, whatever it was. We need to have the right player and also the right mindset that can come in and handle playing here. Because it's different here. And that's what they did. And the best part about it was how much that team came together. And it wasn't just the 25 guys that were on the roster. It was 5, 6, maybe 10 other guys that came up, maybe did back and forth that helped the team win. They're just as important as anybody else. And that's when it started. And 2004, kind of up and down year. I think everybody remembers when Bill Miller hit the home run off of Mariano Rivera, and I think there was some extracurricular stuff that happened in that game.
Tech's busy tonight, otherwise we'd have him out here to recreate it. And you go back to New York a year later. You couldn't write a script. They'd throw it out, say it's too crazy. To be back at Yankee Stadium and to win Game 7 after coming back from 3-0, you wind up
I wouldn't have done it that
out
way.
with the bleacher creatures at the end of it all.
If being down 3-0, it was like I didn't want to be seen in town, because I figured that there was plenty of fans that were going to let me have it, and rightfully so. But the one thing that I felt like that happened, the good Lord above was saying, we need a rain out. And when we got that rain out, what it did was it set the pitching up. Veritek led a meeting. He talked about simplifying it. And even as elementary of a conversation he had with all of us in this meeting, the elementary message was, look, you got 9 innings. And in that 9 innings, you got a top half, you got a bottom half. I said, when it's each inning, let's try to win the inning. Let's win it or push. And when you simplify things, because all of us, what were we looking at? Oh God, we got to win 3 games. We got to win. We got to do this. We have to do that. So then all of a sudden you start putting this even, boulder of pressure on your shoulders. And but simplifying it right there, I think everybody kind of bought into that. And all of a sudden we go back to Yankee Stadium. When we went back in for Game 6, we can I felt like we see their eyes getting a little bit bigger. And we felt like as players, we were a runaway freight train. And Bellhorn hits the opposite field home run. I don't know how the umpires decided that they're going to call this a home run, because it was. And no, it wasn't that was umpiring the game.
Angel, he's retired.
Angel, wasn't Angel. But stuff like that never happened to the Red Sox in Yankee Stadium. We never got the call. We got that call, win the ball game. Game 7, we're watching the miracle in the clubhouse, and all of a sudden we look over and Mike Ruzioni comes in, and I'm like, that's him. And we're like, that's it. These guys don't stand a chance. And Johnny let it all off, and rest is history.
They didn't stand a chance. But you got to win the World Series. I always point that out, right? I mean, it felt
have to do that.
It
a very good
felt like
team.
A foregone. They were a very good St. Louis team. Game 4, you swung at a 3-0 pitch and doubled. Tell us the story of that at bat.
Yeah. Well, first of all, growing up, I never swung 3-0. I just did not do it, because I felt like, and the game has changed, but I felt like if you threw me what you threw me 3-0, you're going to probably throw me 3-1. And but I never did. Grady Little was the first person that got me to actually swing 3-0, and he basically was sitting there, in the dugout in Tampa going, swing it. and got through me a fastball. I hit a home run, and I was like, geez, great, is it that easy? And petrified to death, though, because I grew up, I was coached even in high school. We're not taking 3-0 hacks. So fast forward to the World Series game, 3-0 count. I don't know why I step out, not paying attention to Dale Swaim, and I look over in the dugout. Now, we were in the third base dugout in St. Louis, and Tito is looking down. He's probably hacking or spitting something or another. And I look beside him, and his right hand in charge, his right-hand man, Coach Millsy, he's looking at me, going, come on, let's swing the back, come on, yeah, cut it loose, let's go, come on. Oh man, I got the green light right now. So lo and behold, I step in there and go, here we go. And I get the marquee, little two-seamer, kind of stayed up in the zone. I hit it. When I hit it, I was like, great, Jim Edmonds is gonna make one of these highlight plays and run out of nowhere and make the catch. And all of a sudden I realized that he's not gonna get there. I get the double. Really upset that Billy Miller didn't score, because I would like to base clear and, double, but.
You'll take it.
I'll take it and let it for, the RBI for the next hitter.
Oscar, finally, and it's fitting, we got a couple raindrops now.
Yeah.
Your last game in a Red Sox uniform, the DeVerne hand sack, 5-inning no-hitter. Yeah. We all knew it was going to be done after 5. It probably never should have been played, but it was the last game of the year. Tito pulls you out, I think with 2 outs in that 5th inning, to get that ovation coming in. What was that like, last walk in from right field?
Kind of bittersweet. I mean, I wanted to stay. I wanted to be here in Boston. But, this is the nature of the beast. It's professional sport. And I obviously love this fan base. I wanted to start here. I wanted to end here. But it just didn't. It didn't happen that way. The Lord found it that I needed to go on to Cleveland, and I love being there in Cleveland. I had to end up having to have back surgery in that off season, so it was a rough off season for me. I ended up in Cleveland. Obviously Papelbon brought it up. It's a little bit of a sore subject because Cleveland still hasn't won, and but I think the stuff that I learned here in Boston from teammates, former teammates, veteran guys, I think, I was able to at least help 1 year a very young, good upcoming team that they had there in Cleveland. And yeah, I mean, the rain and all that stuff, yeah, we shouldn't have played that day, but I was glad that I got an opportunity to kind of soak it all in, the fans. But the fans really, you guys have no idea how much you mean to me personally, and I truly do. I had no idea in 1993 that I was going to be spoiled as much as I was. And I mentioned this to the reporters earlier today, that not only is this the greatest sports town in America, but it's also the greatest sports towns in the world. When you talk about you guys, the support you have for not only baseball, but football, basketball, hockey, soccer, women's sports, everything. So, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you guys. I thank you for taking care of my family, treating us so well on a daily basis. And, all I wanted to do in this game was to make you proud, to make my mom and dad proud, my family proud, my wife, my 2 boys who are here right now. They play baseball at NC State. They got to turn around and leave and go back and hopefully win this weekend. But I wanted to make all of you proud. And hopefully I did that most of the time. I know I wasn't perfect all the time, but I want my boys to know that they made me really proud. The way they handle themselves on a daily basis. And there's a lot of other players that their kids are in the same position where, we've been blessed and have the opportunity to have a successful career. And it's tough on the kids because they feel like they have to hold themselves to that standard. But, you know, God puts you in that position for a reason because he knows that you can handle it. And my boys have done a fantastic job. And I know Pedroia's kids and Palabon's kids are going to do the exact same thing. And I love all you guys. Thank you, Red Sox organization, for all you've done for me and my family. I'm eternally grateful.
Trot Nixon, Red Sox Hall of Famer.
Thank you, buddy.
Congratulations.
Thank you, buddy.
Happy fun. Dustin Pedroia spent 17 years with the Red Sox, but he made an immediate impact with the team. He was the Rookie of the Year in the American League as the Red Sox won the 2007 championship. He was MVP a year later, won 4 Gold Gloves, and more importantly, 3 World Championships. He battled through injuries to stay on the field, setting new levels of grit, determination, and intensity on the field. Everything else, did you feel this coming on?
It's a little sore.
Sorry. Listen, almost 20 years to the day since you were drafted by the Red Sox. You're sitting here inducted in the Hall of Fame. What does it mean to you?
Well, it's raining. I mean, I didn't think Pap was going to be up here for an hour, you know what I mean? Just kidding, Pap. No, this is home to me. It's very special. You know, I look at it, every team had a chance to pick me, and it was the Red Sox. So I was fortunate enough to be here my entire career and you know, build so many relationships and you know, build a home here, and it's special.
Thing I remember about those first couple of months as you struggled was that you never lost confidence in yourself. Maybe you did inside, but you never showed it, right? And I remember everyone telling me, trust me, that's who Dustin is. No matter what he's going through, he's going to believe in himself. How close were you to having that belief truly tested in those first couple months?
Oh, it was tested. I just didn't show it. You know, it was hard going home. But you lean on, you know, your family, your support system. You know, I leaned on my wife, my parents, a lot of my teammates from college, my college coach, you know, and then keep working. And then step by step, you start getting better, you start figuring it out, and then you just take off.
You were drafted in that 04 season. It's a magical time in Boston. You come up kind of in the shadow of that, right? It's a new era. The Red Sox have won a World Series. No more curse of the Bambino, none of that crap. Now what you're trying to do is live up to the expectations. Did you feel that? I mean, Boston has high expectations, and they're probably never higher than when you were coming on the scene.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody feels it, but, you know, as a player, you know, you hold yourself to the highest expectations. So, you know, I didn't need the fans to put expectations on me. I've already put them on myself. So, you know, I showed up every day and worked and tried to get better and tried to play for my teammates. And, you know, you just show up, try to win that day, and then move on to the next day.
You win Rookie of the Year that first season, and you win a championship, by the way. What was it like to be on a team with veterans? What did they mean to you? You know, Pap talks a lot about culture and how it was passed on. Who was there for you, especially in those early days and then as the success started to come?
I mean, everybody that year, I mean, we had a special group. You know, so I looked at it like this. There was probably 5 or 6 guys that I played with in A-ball and AA that I could lean on. And then there was Mike Lowell, Alex Cora, Jason Varitek, all the veteran guys kind of, you know, because you're an infielder and I do everything with them. So they kind of took me under their wing, and I don't think they thought I was going to hit. They're lying if they tell you. But once I did, you know, they kind of gravitated towards me a little bit more, and then it was kind of fun.
AC loves to point out how hot he was at the beginning of that season while you were struggling. But he also, as anyone who covered the team knows, was always there to serve as a mentor, to be that veteran, never to be upset that you were here to take his job. What lesson did you learn from that?
I mean, I was a kid, and he treated me like a man. You know, I was 22 years old in the best sports city in the world, and I'm the only guy hitting 100. So, but I knew if I played defense and shut my mouth and played hard and played to win and did other things to help us win, that eventually I'll come around. And it only took about 3 weeks. I got real hot and went from like 150 to 300, and then I started hitting leadoff, and I'm like, man, this is a little too soon. But it worked out all right.
2008 didn't end the way you wanted, but you win the American League MVP. What did that mean to you? What was that offseason like? Was there a moment when it hit you, once you got that award? Like, when was the moment you realized, I'm the most valuable player of the American League?
Yeah, I mean, I only talk about it when I need to talk trash and like mic drop it. Like, hey, I was the best player on planet Earth for 1 year. So if anybody ever talks trash to me, I just be like, nah, man. Like, so, but honestly, I was so upset that we didn't. I thought that team had a chance to go back to back, and you know, we had some injuries to our pitching staff at the end. But I was so upset that we didn't win. That when I got the call, I mean, obviously you're really excited, but you're so motivated to come back the next year and win as a team. That's the ultimate goal. You know, I've won every award, but there's nothing like winning as a team. It's the greatest feeling in the world.
One of my favorite moments interviewing you over your career was the following spring training. And I'll never forget, you looked at me and said, I'm out here to prove everybody wrong. I'm like, dude, they named you MVP. Who are they and what did they say wrong? But that was you, right? It was never, you weren't going to come out and rest on what you did last year. You were always grinding and finding a way to fire yourself up.
Yeah, it was more self-talk, finding somebody to yell at or something. But yeah, I mean, I think that's what's great about this environment. You're pushed every day to be the best version of yourself every day. And, you know, I really enjoyed that.
2013, what the team did for this city, I don't think can ever be explained to somebody from outside this city. And in the days that followed the marathon bombing and the tragedy, you know, I know the players on the team will always say the city lifted the team, but in so many ways the team lifted the city. But it was a special connection that year. What was that like?
It was, I mean, going through that, it was. I can't even explain it. You know, I think all the guys knew that we had to, even if we weren't good enough, we had to find a way to win. And I think everybody pushed themselves and each other to try to bring a smile to somebody's face. And because we knew what everybody was going through. I mean, I mean, you heard David's speech. I mean, that's what we all felt that. So we tried to do anything we could to win and bring joy to and overcome what had happened to the city.
That playoff run, the beards, the craziness, you might not have been the most talented group of individual players, but you were by far the most determined and hardest working team. That doesn't always work in baseball, but it worked that October.
Yeah, like I always tell everybody, I mean, the most talented team doesn't win every year. The team that plays together and wants it more than the other team, they will win. And that was us. I mean, we were not going to be denied. It didn't matter who we faced. I mean, we faced like 5 Cy Young Award winners in a row, and we beat them all. So it doesn't really matter. We were determined to do something special, and it happened.
Coming back here to finish it, I think it's been 95 years since the Red Sox won a World Series at Fenway. And I remember saying, nothing will ever feel like 04 again. That night felt like 04, maybe on another level. Like the place was shaking as that game went on. What was that experience? What was that game like?
It was wild. I mean, it was loud. You couldn't hear. It was hard to communicate when you're playing. I remember we were yelling at each other in the infield, and we're like, I can't hear anything. So it was just a special time, and the entire city, we needed it. You know, everybody needed it, and it was, you know, I look back on my career, and that's the most important, to do that for the fans.
That parade, stopping to put the trophy on the finish line, how emotional was that for the players?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've seen what everybody went through. So, you know, it was, you know, I think it was the perfect ending to, you know, we overcome everything.
You went through so much just to try to stay on the field towards the end. The injuries, the surgeries, everything you tried to come back for. 2018, you were here to lend experience, obviously. What was it like to see the guys who you had sort of helped mentor and come up get it done?
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, obviously not in my case, I was hurt, but just being around young guys and trying to do the things that the older players had done for me, that was pretty important for me. Didn't matter if they were pitcher or position player, just try to be a voice and lead them in the right direction. And, we were better than everybody else. I mean, that team was loaded.
I don't think I ever got to the ballpark before you, and I covered your entire career. I'd speak at a breakfast, and you'd be sitting down here getting ready for a game. But there were times watching you sit on a can to take ground balls because you couldn't stand and take ground balls. Like, the work you were doing behind, how important was it to get out here from time to time, right? Because a lot of guys go through a lot of work there, and they don't put in that extra step, not because they don't need to, but because it doesn't mean as much. Being on the diamond meant everything to you, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's my job. You take your job seriously, you want to be the best, and find a way every day to create that edge to get better. So I use that every day of my career, is come out and try to get better every day. And, looking back, I had left it all on the field.
These fans, obviously, to play your entire career in front of these fans, but what do these fans mean to you? What do you think they did for you? What did playing in Boston do for your career?
I mean, it brought the best out in me, every day. They push you, they, demand that you play with a certain energy and a passion, and you play to win. So, thank you for that. That was my career. I showed up every day to try to, find a way to win for the city and the team that I play for.
David Ortiz told me once that you were the guy who inspired him every day, that he saw the work you put in, that he saw the effort you put in, that he saw the hours you put in. What did it mean to hear that from a guy like that, a Hall of Famer, to say that I look over Pedroia and I better lift myself up to another level because he's doing it for himself?
No, it's special. I mean, when you play with somebody for so long, you kind of push each other and you don't have to say anything. And I think we played together the longest. So, he's DH, and so he's got a lot of watching going on. So, but no, I mean, we had a special connection. I know we look different. I'm a lot better looking than him and everything, but. But no, it was like a great team. I was always, but we thought the same. I always knew what he wanted to do, and so, it was kind of a perfect match to play together for so long.
I want to ask you about the other guys coming in with you. Pep said and he said it last week, it's such a cool trio to be part of because you all, in your own ways, played with intensity, reflected what I think the city of Boston is all about when it comes to baseball. What's it mean to be in with these guys?
Oh, I mean, it's awesome. I mean, I played with Trot for 2 months, and I didn't play a lot, and I would sit back and watch, and I'm like, man, that's who I want to be like, and that was 2 months. So, that he did a lot for me in 2 months that a lot of guys didn't do, and I played for him, a long time. And Pap's my favorite. I played with Pap and A-Ball, so I've seen Jonathan, Cinco Ocho. I've seen them all. And I say this, you would work 4 hours to get to the 9th inning. You know what I mean? Work as a position player. You work your tail off, you get the lead, and there's no one I'd rather have come in through those doors than him. No one. And I know he's crazy. I get it. We all get it. But it was the smoothest ride with him. I knew what he was going to do on the mound, and even if he blew a save, I didn't even care because I knew everything that he did preparation-wise, mentality, that's what I wanted. And so it was an honor to play with both of them.
I'll ask you finally, we started with almost 20 years to the day of you being drafted. You're sitting here being inducted into the Hall of Fame. That 20-year interval, the back of your baseball card has one team on it, Boston Red Sox. What does that mean?
That's pretty cool. I never thought of that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's special. I mean, I'm not much of a baseball card collector, but I don't know. I mean, that was my thing and I was lucky to play for the best ownership, the front office, everybody. I mean, and they knew I wanted to stay here, and they made it happen. So I'm truly grateful for everybody. And when I step in here, this is everybody's family. Like, I came in today, and the guys at the door, I'm hugging them, and it's like it's like I never left. So I just want to thank everybody. This has been a dream come true to be able to play for this organization.
Thank you for being here tonight, Dustin.
I'm wet. What
Congratulations.
about you? Are
You're
you
wet. I'm wet. Let's get out of here. Hall of Famer Dustin Pedroia.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. How you doing? Fans good?
Yeah, everything's good.
Good. Oh, they're crazy. Yep.
All right, everybody, we want to thank you for coming. Congratulations once again to the class. A special thank you to Dave Meller and the grounds crew. They're waiting for us to get out of here because they got a game tomorrow as the homestand opens up here at Fenway. But one more time, how about a round of applause for the class of 2024 and the Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame.